Shua Tov, everyone. Welcome to video number 96 in our Tillis Tells Stories for Saturday Night group. I adapted and supplemented this story from the rendition in Treasury of Hasidic Tales as translated by the esteemed Reb Uri Kaplun. Rabbi Aryeh Leib Heller, the author of Ketzosa Choshen, was a prominent and outspoken opponent of Chasidism. In his hometown Staria, where he was the chief rabbi, lived a great number of chasidim of Rabbi Yaakov Yitzchak, the Seer, the Seer of Lublin. Unfortunately, there was no great love lost between the two sides, and some of the chasidim did not show him the respect that is due the local rabbinic authority. The rabbi, for his part, was in the habit of approving those nonconformist folk for their Hasidic customs, which he held to be not in full accordance with the dictates of Shulchan Aruch, the code of Jewish law. Needless to say, they ignored him, and he, of course, felt it was improper that his rulings were being ignored. Eventually, he pronounced a shamta, a ban of temporary excommunication on them, which was to last 30 days. Obedient to their rabbi's decree, the bulk of the local population promptly severed all contact with the Chassidim. The Chassidim put their heads together and decided to set out for Lublin, there to spend a few weeks in the heartwarming company of their Rabbi, the Seer, until the passage of time they would find themselves a little less unwelcome in their own hometown when the ban expired. Rabbi Yaakov Yitzchak Halevi, known as the Choser, the Seer of Lublin, was the successor to the Rebbe Elimelech of Lezhinsk and leader of the spread of Chasidus in Poland and in Galicia. He passed away on the 9th of Tisha B'Av in 1815. The custom in Lublin was that the Seer's attendant would bring the Rebbe a list of all the recent arrivals who were waiting to be greeted by him. The Rebbe would then indicate who was to be invited to enter his study for a private audience. When the group from Staria arrived, the Choser told his attendant that they would have to wait to receive their greeting for 2 weeks and so many days, exactly as long as it would take for the rabbinical ban to expire. When the time finally passed, they came together to speak to the Seer and take leave of him. The Seer said to them, we read in the Torah, in the Torah portion of Bahalosacha, that the Almighty rebukes Aaron and Miriam with the question, why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moshe? That's in Bahalosacha, Numbers chapter 12, verse number 8, book of Numbers. Since it appeared to be repetitious to write both my servant and Moshe, Rashi comments, against my servant, even if you are not Moshe. Against Moshe, even if you are not my servant. Now the first half of this comment is understandable, but such a Moshe who is not my servant, why should one stand in awe of him? And the answer is as follows. The house of Israel is made up of two categories of people. Those whose main concern is to be expert and punctilious as regard every word in the code of Jewish law, and those whose first love is to cleave to God in devoted attachment, serving Him not only in prayer, but also, as explained in length, in duties of the heart, in the manner of their walking and sitting, their lying down and rising, their eating and their drinking. This then is what Rashi means. One who is commanded to stand in awe of Moshe, the great legalistic scholar, the giver of the Torah, the transmitter of the Torah, even if he is not my servant, in the sense of having unceasing communion with God, and likewise in awe of my servant, who delves rather into the mysteries of the Torah in order to draw closer to his Maker, even though he may not be a Moshe in his mastery of the legalistic side of the Torah. Both are to be held in awe. And if this is the case, consider how the rabbinical judge of your town, who is a veritable pillar of the revealed law, why were you not afraid to speak against him?